Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching my MARP presentation or Major Applied Research Project on Google Classroom. My name is Nicole Robertson. I am currently doing my student teaching in a 4th grade classroom that heavily relies on Google Classroom. Before my student teaching, I had not had any experience with Google Classroom. Although I feel I have learned a lot about Google Classroom through my student teaching, I learned even more about Google Classroom through this assignment. I hope you also learn more about Google Classroom through this presentation. I first wanted to give a quick overview of what Google Classroom is, in case you are not familiar with the tool. Google Classroom was launched in 2014 as a blended learning platform for schools that aims to simplify creating, distributing, and grading assignments in a paperless way. It is a free application designed to help students and teachers communicate, collaborate, organize, and manage assignments. What I love about Google Classroom is that it is a free tool and it reduces the use of paper. I've seen firsthand how much paper is wasted during a typical school day, not to mention how often students lose or misplace important papers. At my student teaching placement, students have one-on-one iPads, which makes it even easier to use Google Classroom. So how can Google Classroom help teachers? I hope you see the value in Google Classroom as I continue through this presentation, but I wanted to give you some basic reasons why this tool helps teachers. Teachers can easily add assignments and announcements on Google Classroom, a tool that is always accessible to students. Teachers have less papers to collect, and Google Classroom keeps assignments that are turned in organized. Teachers will no longer have to worry about no-named papers because Google Classroom always keeps track of what students have turned in. Google Classroom will connect to Google Calendar, which makes organizing school events with classroom events easier. It also makes it easier to share important dates with students and families. On Google Classroom, teachers can also grade assignments. Teachers can create a point value for assignments that are turned in, grade the assignment, and then send it back to students with comments. If warranted, students can add corrections and then resubmit assignments. Again, this is a potentially more organized and efficient tool for grading and submitting assignments. In the image you see a list of classroom assignments and how many students have turned in the assignment, and how many students still need to turn in the assignment. Again, this is just a basic introduction to why Google Classroom helps teachers, but I love that I can easily see which students have or have not turned in assignments. I found this article called 50 Awesome Apps That Integrate with Google Classroom. Instead of mentioning all 50, I compiled a list of apps that I use in my student teaching that connect to Google Classroom. Google Classroom connects to Aries, which is an online grading portal. They can connect scoring done on Google Classroom to an Aries gradebook. Google Classroom connects to BrainPop. I love the tool BrainPop, and through Google Classroom, students are able to log into BrainPop and watch the video or complete the assigned quiz. Classcraft is a gaming system that the district I do my student teaching in uses for classroom management. Through Google Classroom, the teacher can give points to students who turn in their Google Classroom assignments on time, which in results turns the points they earn for doing their assignments into points for the Classcraft game. Google Classroom also connects to Flipgrid. Teachers can create Flipgrid assignments for students. Through Google Classroom, teachers can assign Khan Academy lessons. Khan Academy is a tool that has personalized learning that goes at the pace of each student. Google Classroom also connects to Nearpod. Teachers can assign Nearpod presentations and assessments through Google Classroom. Google Classroom also connects to Pear Deck. Pear Deck connects to all student devices to present a specific presentation. Through Google Classroom, the teacher can share the link for the presentation. Again, I found a list of 50 apps that connect to Google Classroom, but I just wanted to share my top 7. I wanted to give you the first few steps needed to set up a Google Classroom if you are interested in using Google Classroom in your classroom now. You need to have a Google account or a Google email. Sign into your Google account, go to Google Classroom, and then select the option I am a teacher. Next to your icon in the top right-hand side of your account, click the add sign and then name your class. My mentor teacher's name is Tucker's Tech Team. Her name is Mrs. Tucker. You can be as creative or not as desired. You can change the theme of your class to customize your class. You can add an optional syllabus or other rules you find important for your class on Google Classroom. You can add your students to your class by giving your students a code that they will input once they visit the Google Classroom website. Or you can add students by emailing them a link they are to follow. Teachers can have this all set up before the start of the school year, and on the first day of school, you can have the code ready for your students. As you can see, it is very easy to set up Google Classroom. It becomes more complicated as you integrate other tools and actually add things to your Google Classroom, like assignments and announcements. In the image to the right of the text of the slides, you will see 3 different classes. Students may be in different classes if they go to a different teacher for math or ELA, or if they're in middle school and high school. In this case, this teacher has different Google Classroom for the different classes he or she may teach. As a future elementary school teacher, I will probably just have one Google Classroom for my students that they will use for the entire year for every subject. As previously mentioned, you can connect your Google Calendar to Google Classroom. This helps parents, students, and teachers stay organized and up to date. Teachers can add the events to Google Calendar that in regards to upcoming tests or school events. Students will have access to this Google Calendar as long as they have the device. The hope is to avoid the statement, "I didn't know we had a test today." Google Docs also works well with Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, I am able to create an assignment. Students then go directly to the assignment and open the Google Doc directly under that assignment. Students are able to work on that assignment in the Google Doc in that assignment. This makes it easy for teachers to track student progress. Once students are completed with the Google Doc, they can simply press Turn In. Google Classroom also works with Google Forms. I often create an assessment through Google Forms, and I add that link to Google Classroom. Students click the assignment and follow the Google Forms link. Students then take that assessment. It is then so easy for the teacher to grade it. If I just taught a lecture using Google Slides, I'm able to upload my Google Slides to Google Classroom for students to reference. Students can also open up Google Slides if I create an assignment where they are to use Google Slides. The image to the right is an example of an assignment created by a teacher. You can see how the student is working on a Google Doc directly under that assignment. These are the only other Google apps I personally use with Google Classroom, and I shared with you how I have used them. Teachers are doing amazing and unique things with Google Apps. I know I have only scratched the surface. A tool that I think is very beneficial for all grade levels is the discussion board that Google Classroom provides. Students or teachers can post a discussion question on Google Classroom. The first picture on the right-hand side of the screen is how the student or teacher can add a discussion board or topic. This picture is an example of a discussion that was started by a student. You can see the student asking the question, "When is the science test?" You can also see that the student's classmates responded. A teacher can ask a question and every student can respond. What I learned from the website Teacher Tech is that teachers can create a discussion board, but create a Google Sheet document where students are to open and respond. That makes Google Classroom less cluttered with students' responses and easy for the teacher to see who responds in the Google Sheets. Of course, certain settings will need to be made to ensure that students do not delete their classmates' responses on the Google Sheets. Opposed to using Google Sheets, teachers can create a Google Doc or another outlet to keep the Google Classroom clutter-free when a discussion topic is posted. Although the discussion board can potentially clutter up the feed, it is a great tool when students have a simple question such as, when is the science test? I love Google Classroom, but I am still learning about all the amazing things you can do with Google Classroom. For the purpose of this project, what really helped me learn more about the topic was going on Pinterest. I just searched Google Classroom Elementary, and it led to many articles and teacher blogs about using Google Classroom. I am almost an expert on Google Classroom, but I am still learning so much about this amazing tool. I hope you learned a little something about Google Classroom through this presentation. I also hope that you use Pinterest or a basic Google search to learn about the other unique things you can do on Google Classroom. We are lifelong learners, and Google Classroom is always changing, so there's always something to learn about. That is the beauty of technology, after all. Below are my references used in the creation of my MARP. If you want to learn more about Google Classroom, these are great blogs and websites about using it. Thank you so much for watching my presentation.